Rest in peace and rest in power to Lance Reddick. This is Millennial Man Motions Entertainment, LLC. It is finally the spring. Yes, it's the spring of 2023. And this is my movie review of John Wick, Chapter 4. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The first thing I want to say about this movie is each of the 4 John Wick movies have a different release of what month it gets released in. Chapter 1 got released in October of 2014. Chapter 2 got released in February of 2017. Chapter 3 got released in May of 2019. And Chapter 4 got released in March of 2023. So each of the 4 movies has a different month it was released in. The cinematography in this movie, the cinematography is outstanding. The music was well chosen, very well chosen music. Pennywise was terrible, horrible, swarmy, and a coward. In the opening scene, John Wick is training in a fighting stance. In the opening scene, John Wick is training in a fighting stance, punching something that anyone else punching would have been very hurt by. Lawrence Fishburne's Bowery King is nearby laughing, in the presence nearby of John Wick in that opening of them there, getting themselves with the strength and health to get back up and go out and do things. Next, we see John Wick on a horse in the desert, so that he can reach the next elder, a character recasted from Part 3. The location of this desert is actually a rock of the Wadi Rum Desert in Jordan, where Lawrence of Arabia was filmed. I think that Part 4, John Wick Chapter 4, Part 4, had a better overall story than Part 3. Yeah, the elder was recasted, and the location in the desert is somewhere in Jordan there, with the Wadi Rum desert of where also Lawrence of Arabia was filmed. And I did think that Part 4 had an overall better story than Part 3. The New York City Continental, this is after the desert scene. The New York City Continental is quickly taken down, and Pennywise shoots Sharon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that character name right, but Pennywise shoots Sharon, who in real life passed away 1 week before the movie's release. Rest in peace and rest in power to Lance Reddick. The locations of this movie go from New York to Japan. The locations go from New York to Japan to Germany to France. The Harbinger character, also another new character in this series. The Harbinger does not like Pennywise either. The Harbinger does not like Pennywise. Part 4. Part 4 new cast members include Donnie Yen as Kane, Haruki, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, Haruko Sandata as Shimizu, and Shimura Anderson as Tracker or Mr. Nobody. All of these new characters do a great job. Great job. During the Germany sequences where there was torture of John Wick having a rope around his neck, during the German scenes, John Wick at one point has a whole rope around his neck for torture, and Fat Suit Scott Adkins as Killa says something about Christmas, and these two scenes are kind of near each other. This all made me think and remind me of 1999's The World Is Not Enough, from the being tortured really strongly, and then mention of Christmas. Two of those things connect near each other like that. The world is not enough. Dun, 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 dun. The World Is Not Enough is the first Bond movie I saw theatrically with my dad. All right, this is the one bit of trivia right here that I most definitely have to mention in this review, and that is that Keanu Reeves just speaks 380 words in this movie. That's right, he just speaks 380 bits of words in this movie. This is one of the lowest word counts ever spoken by a main character in a movie, ever, before this. Just making sure I covered all my front page of notes before I move on to the back here. Enjoy the podcast's background music in the final version. Okay. Yeah, all right, here we go. Back of the page then. All right, so yeah. Keanu Reeves just speaks 380 words in this movie. This is the lowest amount of word count ever spoken by a main character in a movie. During the radio scenes, and there's a few radio type scenes where the radio tells people how they should try to catch John Wick out and about so that they can earn money for themselves. During the radio scenes, the word fonts looks like it's from the Matrix style word font, and the green type code of the Matrix going around. Which would make sense because the director was also a stunt person for the Matrix movies and works with Keanu and on stuff like that. Towards the end of the movie, the shots really looked like a video game. The ending, the tracking shot when it goes from the top and it goes all around like that, it was like the shot of a video game. Of course, we have to talk. Of course, with this the next installment, how is the action? How is the action and the fighting and the fight choreography? The action and fighting was and is terrific, huge, fantastic, and incredible. The action and fighting in this movie was most definitely terrific, huge, fantastic, and incredible. I did not feel the long run time. I did not feel the long run time, at least on my first viewing here. But, however, I did feel that with 2022's The Batman, 2022's The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson, that felt much longer than it needed to be. Not so much with John Wick 4. Two different kinds of movies there on how the length is. Lawrence Fishburne. Let's talk about Lawrence Fishburne again for a sec. Lawrence Fishburne worked with Keanu Reeves in the Matrix franchise and the John Wick franchise. Lawrence Fishburne also worked with Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 3, all the way back in 2006, as one of the boss type people in Mission Impossible 3. let's have Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise in a fighting team-up movie. How awesome and how awesome and how legendary would it be if we could finally have a movie where Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise in a fighting team-up type movie connect and work together in a future movie down the line. That would be so really, really, really neat, really, really, really cool, and something we all really want to see is have Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise work together, because that would just blow people's minds. In a good way, in a happy, uplifting way. I would describe, this is very important, I had thought about this a lot during and after the movie. I would describe John Wick Chapter 4 as being about consequences. That's right, consequences, a word they use at least 3 or 4 different times during the movie. Minimally 3, maybe even 4, who knows, but definitely 3 to 4 times, if not more, they mention the word consequences. This movie is all about consequences, friendships, and a loving husband wanting to be close to his loving wife. Consequences, friendships, and a loving husband wanting to be close to his loving wife. The conclusion and finale of this part 4 of the series franchise, the conclusion and finale was satisfying for what they were going for, and Keanu Reeves and the whole stunt team did an excellent job. And may I say, I was not sure if I should use this word, but spectacular as well. The John Wicks and the whole stunt team did an excellent and spectacular job. Whether, that was period. Okay, next. Whether John Wick lives or dies is ultimately up to the audience's own interpretations to decide. So I mentioned about him and the stunt team. Whether John Wick lives or dies at the end is ultimately up to the audience's own interpretation to decide for themselves. If Part 4 is the last in the series, I'm cool with that. But I have a feeling that Part 5, Chapter 5, is somewhere around the corner, because this is doing really well at the box office, and Keanu Reeves did say he'd do these as long as people were felt it a lot, and well, don't be surprised if you see Chapter 5 at some point down the road. Oh yes. I would grade or rate John Wick Chapter 4. That's just a plane flying over. I always have all kinds of stuff up there doing stuff. It is what it is. Can't control the sky like that. Can't really control anything in life, actually. I would grade or rate John Wick Chapter 4 as a 4.9, yes, that's right, a 4.9 out of 5 Kazakhstan stars, a 4.9 out of 5 Kazakhstan stars, or a 9.95 Ninja Turtles 1990, or a 9.95 out of 10 Kazakhstan stars, or a letter grade of an A, as in apple, accommodate, absence, or academic. Support your local... Oh, one last thing to talk about the movie. I would say John Wick Chapter 4 is a must-see, definitely for sure see, for all action and fighting fans, no doubt. If you haven't seen John Wick Chapter 4 yet, definitely go out and see it for yourself. This is must-see for all action and fighting fans in this time of the 2020s. Support your local movie theater throughout the decade of the 2030s to see movies on the big silver screen for the best theatrical experience like no other ever would be. Because what? Because streaming online at home is just not the same thing. Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody dance and have a good time. Everybody dance and have a good time. Ah! Whew. Everybody dance and have a good time. This is Millennial Man Motions Entertainment, LLC, signing out.